Peace. What's the word? What's happening, everybody? Hopefully, everybody is having a powerful, peaceful, productive, healthy Wednesday. And hopefully, y'all got about 45, 50 minutes to tap in and chop it up with your boy. Y'all see the subject matter for the day. I don't have long. Got some other stuff I got to tend to and accomplish, but I wanted to just tap in with y'all real quick to build on this project 2025. I know y'all familiar with it, so I'm gonna give y'all about 3 to 5 minutes to tap in with the kid before we start elaborating and building on this subject matter for the day. What's the word? How y'all living and feeling on this wonderful Wednesday? Tap in. And we back in the spot, fresh off a Mississippi visit, man. Feeling good, feeling refreshed, feeling energized, feeling ready to build, man. But before I tap in, man, y'all let me know something. Tell me something good. What's the word? How we living? How we feeling on this wonderful Wednesday? Tap in with your boy. Y'all see the subject matter. I know y'all got some input on this 2025 thing. We're not gonna be able to get too deep off into the trenches in regards to this subject matter, but we're gonna be able to get deep enough. I just want to tap into probably one or two policies in regards to the project 2025. Hey, Goddess Isis, peace. What's happening? What's the word? Emmanuel, peace. What's happening? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling? How we living? How we feeling? What's the word? Y'all see it? Y'all see the subject matter? Hey, clocks in, my brother. Peace, peace for sure. Gotta tap in with that nature. Gotta tap in with that nature for sure. Gotta tap in. What's the word, man? How we living? How we feeling? Tap in with your boy. Y'all see the subject matter, man. I know y'all tapped in. I know y'all know about the project 2025. Got everybody talking. You know how I go every 4 years or so. Everybody begins to act like they've always been interested in politics and like they well versed in politics. So everybody becomes an expert every 4 or 5 years or so. 777, peace. What's happening? What's happening? What's the word? How we living? How we feeling? Clocks in. Basically, the project 2025, based on my understanding, it's like a collection of policy proposals to like reshape the federal government in the event of the Republican Party winning the presidential campaign. That's how they are phrasing it. You know what I'm saying? But in my humble opinion, it doesn't matter which party wins. I feel like they are striving to push forth this agenda anyway. So they always want to make the Republicans look like the boogeyman, like, they want to make the Republican person the boogeyman. But at the end of the day, the Democrats are not too far off, especially in regards to their history. I ask, especially when it comes to black people, man, I always tap in with black people when they start talking about they Democrats. And I'm like, man, do y'all even know what that even entails? Do you even know the history behind the Democrats and things along those lines? They done made the Republican Party a little spooky, so black people always associating with the Democratic Party when at the end of the day, behind closed doors, these people working together. They working together. So I don't side with either side, because they really the same side at the end of the day. They want to give off this illusion that there's some type of rift between them, that these debates and all of that type of nonsense, man. But at the end of the day, there is somebody controlling whoever the president is. And that's who has the power. Clocks in for sure. And I was breaking down some of this Project 2025, and I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with anything the Republicans say. Like, I don't have a problem with I just don't have a problem with a lot of things they say, and not because I necessarily agree with them, not because I'm a fan of them, not because I support them, because I feel like sometimes we need that extreme in order to wake some of us up. That's why a lot of times I don't have a problem with some of the stuff that they say and some of the policies that they are pushing or they striving to push, so they say. You know, I don't have a problem with those extreme policies because sometimes that's what it takes to wake up black people. Some of these extreme policies. Sometimes doesn't work all the time, but sometimes we need something extreme like this to happen for some folks to be like, hold up, we in some type of trouble. What we gonna do? Unfortunately, that's how it goes. It shouldn't take this to happen for us to wake up and see how wicked things are. King, you say you can't hear it? I think everybody else can hear me. You might have to mess with your volume there, King. I think everybody else can hear me. 777, and exactly. That's basically what they's talking about, you know, the police state and all of that good stuff. Like, this is all of that coming to fruition, which is what they're gonna end up doing. And which is why I say I don't have a problem. The reason why I say I don't have a problem with that, if they want to set up the police state, if they want to really tap in 2025 and start executing on these agendas that they've been talking about for years, let's do it. Maybe then we gonna wake up collectively. Maybe then we gonna wake up collectively. Maybe then some of the folks that have been tapped in with me over the years that thought what I was saying was crazy, maybe they gonna wake up and be like, you know what? Hold up, y'all might be on to something. Let's go ahead and unite and do this thing. Like, maybe that's what it's going to take. Not even maybe. That is what it's going to take. You know, that's what it's going to take. Because you got plenty of folks that's been given the truth, been given this type of information for years. For years. Before I was born, you know, you've been receiving this information and it wasn't waking you up. So it's time. It's time for something extreme to happen. It's time. It's time for some extreme activity to happen. Something extreme like this has to happen. Has to happen. You know, this actually got people going crazy. And when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, all righty then. But one thing I really wanted to tap into before I forget, because they got a bunch of policies that they are presenting or proposing. Hey, Mike, peace, what's happening? But I wanted to tap in to what I feel like is not the most important one, but one that stood out to me the most. I want to find it and I want to read it. Y'all already know where I'm going. The Education and Research Policy Proposal. Let me go ahead and read it, right? Let me read this joint. Project 2025 envisions a dramatic reduction of the role of the federal government in education and the elevation of school choice and parents' rights. To achieve this, it proposes the elimination of the Department of Education and giving states the ability to opt out of federal programs or standards. Programs under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act would be instead administered by the Department of Health and Human Services, while the National Center for Education Statistics will become part of the Census Bureau. In fact, the federal government, according to Project 2025, should be no more than a statistic-keeping organization. Federal enforcement of civil rights in schools will be significantly curtailed, and such responsibilities will be transferred to the Department of Justice, but the Department of Justice would only be able to enforce the law through litigation. Moreover, the federal government would no longer investigate schools for signs of disparate impacts of disciplinary measures on the basis of race or ethnicity. Project 2025 explicitly rejects the pursuit of racial parity in school discipline indicators such as detentions, suspensions, and expulsions over student safety. A federal fund worth $18 billion for low-income students, Title I of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, will be allowed to expire, with responsibilities be transferred to the states. Moreover, public funds for education will be available with no strings attached as school vouchers, even for parents sending their children to private or religious schools. Free school meals and the Head Start program will be eliminated. For the backers of this project, education is a private rather than a public good. Project 2025 encourages the future president to ensure that any research conducted with taxpayer dollars serves the national interest in a concrete way in line with conservative principles. For example, research in climatology should receive considerably less funding in line with Project 2025's views on climate change. Now, the reason why I wanted to read that is because this got a lot of people talking about education in general, and they started bringing up homeschooling their children. This is the dialogue that I'm seeing amongst a lot of Black people in response to this particular policy, or this policy that I just read. So now it got them nervous. You got the free school meals, the Head Start program, all of that will be eliminated. Antonio, peace, what's happening? And people look at that like, oh man, that's crazy, that's messed up, they shouldn't do that. Once again, I have no problem. Why do I not have a problem with that? Is because how are we going to respond to that? I have been talking about homeschooling. Now, again, I already know the response that a lot of people will throw my way when it comes to homeschooling and it not being feasible for a lot of people to homeschool due to the amount of jobs that they have to work to provide a living. But once again, this should force you to be creative, to think creatively. Say, all right, we don't like where the school system is going. We thinking about homeschooling, but I have to work 3 jobs in order to provide a living for me and my family. But man, I don't want to send them out to this school system. How can I make this work? Well, y'all know I talk about the subconscious mind and things like that. So what you focus on, it grows. So if we focus on what we need to do hard enough, then you will come up with a plan and a strategy to ensure that you are able to homeschool your child or your children. So we got to get in our creative thinking bags, as they call them. We got to get in the creative thinking bag. That's why I don't have a problem with some of the stuff that I'm reading. Again, not that I agree, not because I agree with it, not because I support one side versus the other. No, because I feel like it's putting that pressure on us. You looking at the system and you say, man, they not playing fair. We don't like what's going on. So now we are left with an ultimatum. What are we going to do? If the system is not playing fair, if the system is throwing all these policies at us and we don't agree with them, what are we going to do? That's where I'm at with it. Now we got to come up with some solutions. We got to get creative. You don't like where the educational system is headed, what you going to do? I haven't been a fan of the educational system in years. I feel like the educational system needs to be destroyed, to be honest with you, because it's garbage. The educational system has been garbage for Black people for a very long time. Been garbage. The educational system is garbage. The college system, for the most part, is a scam. So so that system in and of itself, in my opinion, has been trash, has been garbage. Been garbage. Antoinette, peace, what's happening, my sister? The educational system has been garbage. And this particular policy was talking about private school, public school, things like that. I was able to deal in both realities. I went to public school for the majority of my schooling. Then I finished off in private school. So I was able to experience both worlds. And I can tell you both worlds are trash for Black people. They both teach the same garbage lies. I can tell you that straight out the gate. They both teach the same garbage, fabricated lies. Literally, private, public. No matter which one you choose for black people, they still are going to teach the fabricated garbage lies. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you have to find a genuine teacher. You have to find a genuine teacher in order for you to get some ounce of truth in regards to a certain subject. You know, you have to have a good teacher, fam. But the system as a whole, no good. Hasn't been good for a very long time, if you ask me. That's my humble opinion. So I don't have any problem with the Department of Education getting destroyed, dismantled, all of that, because the school system has been garbage. It's been garbage. Please, somebody really break down to me. Now, I'm not, and people got to understand what I'm saying, because I'm not against education. I'm not against education at all. So when people hear me talk bad about the school system, don't think that I'm saying I'm opposed to education. Education and schooling are two different things. Two different things. But somebody tell me how the educational system in the wilderness of North America has benefited black people as a whole. Somebody please explain that to me. Benefited us as a whole. Somebody explain to me how the school system in the wilderness of North America, where we currently reside, where most of us currently reside, someone tell me how this system has benefited us in the wilderness of North America. Please tell me. Somebody tell me how this system has benefited us. Somebody tell me. I will wait on a response. Somebody tell me. King Griff for sure. You know, we got a lot of alternatives. You know, it's a lot of ways to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of ways to make it happen. We've been long overdue in regards to removing ourselves from that school system and their curriculum. You know what I mean? And their curriculum. What knowledge of self did you gather from the school system? What truths did you learn? What positive truths did you learn about your people, about black people, about original people in the school system? If you learn any of that, if you attain or acquired any knowledge of self, if you acquired any of the truths about the original people, you had to do that outside of the school system. So when black people had to learn, or when black people have to learn the truths about themselves, we have to do it outside of the school system anyway. I don't know about y'all, but I didn't learn many truths about black people, positive truths for that matter. I didn't learn much of that in the school system. I didn't. Now y'all could have had different experience, but I didn't. I had to do a lot of independent research, a lot of studying outside of the school system to learn the stuff that I currently hold near and dear to my heart. A lot of the lessons and information, knowledge, data, whatever that I hold near and dear to my heart right now did not come from the school system. And I didn't went through all the school systems. Public, private, college, did all of that. And all of the lessons and information that I hold near and dear to my heart right now, I got it from information that I got outside of the school system. At least 98, 99% of it. If anything, going to private school made me more rebellious. So I give it credit for that. I would give the private school that I went to, I would give them credit for making me more rebellious and just opening my eyes to the subtle and subliminal racism that was still going on at the time that I was in school. I would give them credit for that. You know, they activated that Khalid Muhammad gene that was laying dormant in me. You know, some stuff that I knew was a reality, but I just had to get it confirmed by witnessing it and by experiencing it. So I would say experiencing some things at the private school that I attended, that I finished out my high school career, at or in, you know, that opened my eyes to some things that I already kind of felt, but I just hadn't experienced them and witnessed them. So that was like some validation. Like I knew I wasn't, you know, I knew what I was thinking was right and exact. Thank you for the confirmation. If anything, that's what happened. If anything, going to the private institutions just woke me up even more. It woke up the revolutionary even more. It actually created the person that y'all see and hear right now. You know, straight up. That's when I really realized, man, it's a bunch of BS going on out here. A bunch of it. So I give the private school credit for that. You know, when I start seeing the sound bowls, when I you know, I seen a lot get played out in front of me by attending a private institution. I seen a lot, you know, and I seen a lot in the public institution. So I seen it. Best of both worlds. But the private institution was a little bit more interesting because you know that's where the money at. So you really see the racism. You really see the racism. Like it's really kind of in your face when you go where the money is at, where the money is being spent at. Like they really throw it in your face then. You know, when you go into the public schools, you know, y'all already know how they treat the public schools, especially when it's inner city. You know, you get the worst books, you get the worst equipment. You know, that's the form of racism you see there. Terrible quality. But then when you go to the private schools, you getting decent quality, but then you reading what's in here and you seeing the lies are just even crazier. And the way they just go about things is even crazier. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. Allegory. So Project 2025 is basically an agenda that includes a collection of policy proposals that the Republican Party will implement to try to reshape the U.S. federal government. Now, again, they're going to blame this on the Republican Party. But again, I feel like it don't matter who or what party wins. I feel like this is the agenda that they will push forward. Now, again, I'm not able to go in detail in regards to all the policies in this stream, you know, so I just wanted to just activate the research bug in folks with this stream. I just wanted to kind of touch on the education, you know, them getting rid of the Department of Education, you know, and all that type of good stuff, man, pushing more private schools, getting rid of the Head Start programs and the free lunches and things like that. And it got black people talking about homeschooling their kids and just homeschooling in general, which in my opinion, we should have been having the homeschool conversation because the school system has been garbage. Like this should have been a conversation. Like we should have been striving to do this collectively. You know, but it's a lot of different policies in this Project 2025. If I had more time, I would build on most of them, you know. But it's a lot of policies from healthcare to economics to foreign affairs. Like it's a lot of policies. A lot of policies. And another part, let me read this part though. This is like this is one of the second. Hey, let me read this part. Now, and also in line with the Project 2025, you know how they getting rid of, or how they was getting rid of like African American studies in some school districts and whatnot, like they just throwing that out of the curriculum. That's part of it. That's part of it. Tyree, getting rid of the Constitution is crazy. Did the Constitution ever apply to us though? Like I'm gonna be, let's keep it real, Tyree. Like it's crazy, but did it really ever apply to black people? On some occasions it might have mattered, but like let's be for real. Because what are we considered in the Constitution? 3/5 of what? You know what I'm saying? So the Constitution, as they say, wasn't written with black people in mind. When the Constitution was written, what your ancestors were doing what? My ancestors were doing what? When the Constitution was written, we were not included because we were enslaved. And that Constitution really hasn't been revised, so we need to get rid of a Constitution and we need to rewrite that joint. We need to have our own Constitution because we were never included technically in that Constitution. If we being technical, we were not even considered a whole human in the Constitution. We not considered a whole human. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So the Constitution really never was for us. So that's why, again, I say little stuff like that I actually agree with. Yeah, let's rewrite the Constitution. Let's destroy it. Let's write another one. Let's write another one. They pick and choose. It's just like with law and all that type of stuff. They pick and choose when they want to use the Constitution. But we done had plenty of situations. We done had plenty of situations where if the Constitution applied to us, things would have ended differently. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, wait a minute. So they done told us several times that didn't apply to us. You know, so Tyree, I get you. It's crazy, but to me, it's a good crazy. It's a good crazy. I don't know about. I'm ready for some extreme change. I'm ready for it. I don't know about y'all. I'm ready for it though. You know, because we have been put to sleep. We have been asleep for too long. You know, so I'm ready for us to wake up. You know, I'm ready for us to wake up. But let me read this part. This is the part right here. Project 2025, issues of identity. This is it right here. Here we go. Project 2025. They don't want this one. Project 2025 promotes the ideal that the government should maintain a biblically based social science reinforced definition of marriage and family. To achieve this end, it proposes the recognition of only heterosexual men and women, the removal of protection against discrimination on the basis of sexual or gender identity, and the elimination of provisions pertaining to diversity, equity, and inclusion from federal legislation. Individuals who have participated in diversity, equity, and inclusion programs or any initiatives involving critical race theory might be fired. The White House's Gender Policy Council will be disbanded. Government agencies would be forbidden from instituting quotas and collecting statistics on gender, race, or ethnicity. Project contributor Jonathan Berry explains the goal here is to move toward color blindness and to recognize that we need to have laws and policies that treat people like full human beings, not reducible to category. Not reducible to category. To categories, especially when it comes to race. Reducible. I'm tripping. Reducible to categories, especially when it comes to race. Moreover, the U.S. Census Bureau will be reformed along conservative principles. So they're trying to create a colorblind society, they say. Let me read that part. Government agencies would be forbidden from instituting quotas and collecting statistics on gender, race, or ethnicity. What they call affirmative action, which we never benefited from to begin with. But they're going to eliminate those quotas because they're striving to be colorblind. That's what they say. But the part proposes the recognition of only heterosexual men and women. Boy, that's you know that community ain't having that. They ain't want to hear that. See, they don't want to hear stuff like that. Black people have been having to deal with this type of stuff ever since we've been dealing with these people. So they see a policy like this or read a policy like this, and that alphabet community will get all in their feelings. Welcome to our world. Welcome to our world. Y'all got crazy, right? They are trying to push a whole policy to not recognize you people. You people. Crazy, right? Crazy, right? As my man Tyree just brought up, they got a whole constitution calling us 3/5 of a human being. So must be nice, huh? Must be nice. That's crazy. That got them in an uproar, though. That issues of identity, man, when you read that policy is crazy. Crazy. What they say, they want to maintain a biblically based social science reinforced definition of marriage and family. To achieve this end, it proposes the recognition of only heterosexual men and women. They say we ain't having any of those homosexual marriages. We're not acknowledging the transgender community. Like, they going hard on them. They going hard on them. Going hard on us is nothing new. They've been doing that. We used to that. We used to it. So y'all know that policy I just read. Y'all know what community ain't having that. Y'all know what community ain't going for that. Y'all already know. I think the stuff. I don't want to say I think it's funny, but I do think it's funny. LG, you already know. Dred Scott. You know, I'm in St. Louis. You already know the history or the association with St. Louis and that Dred Scott case for sure. You know, but I think all of this stuff is funny. You know, especially when I start seeing the conversations that people have pertaining to this subject matter. Because again, as Black people, when have somebody please give me some game? Like, when have we ever been treated fairly by this system? When have we ever been included in anything of fairness, of equality with this system? Like, when? Like, when fam? And then if we are included, not even included, but if we are given certain positions, notice that I'm saying given. We got to be given these positions. Notice if we are allowed to have positions or given certain positions, it comes at an extreme price. It comes at an extreme price. And to pay that price, a lot of times, you have to give up your integrity, your pride, your knowledge of self. You have to give up your identity as a Black person. If you striving to attain certain positions in this system as a Black man or a Black woman, you have to give up your identity. You have to give up your originality, your authenticity, your uniqueness, your integrity, your morals, your principles. You have to give up all of that. Your culture, you have to give up all of that. You have to lose all of that. You have to lose all of that, fam, in order to reach certain levels within this system. And they want to talk about equality. They want to talk about all these strides that we are making. A lot of these strides, they don't tell you the price. They don't tell you the price that must be paid in order for these Black people to reach these certain positions. Some of these people may tell you the price that has to be paid, but a lot don't. They want to make it. They want to make it seem like we are making drastic improvements as a society, as a whole. When you really start doing the knowledge to it, we really not. We really not. You know, y'all see these dollar amounts that folks are making these days. But then when you really tap in and you look at inflation, when you look at the price of everything, man, it really almost equals out to the same thing. It almost equals out to the same thing, man. People, like, hey, at the end of the day, people struggling, fam. People struggling. Like, it's real in the field out here. People are struggling. It's rough out here. Like, back in the day, you used to be able, like, you literally, back in the day, you used to be able to have one income for the household, and that could take care of a whole family with about 3 or 4 kids. That was a thing. Nowadays, no, not even close. Not even close. Man, you got to have about 4 or 5 or 6 streams of income these days. Straight up. And that might not even be enough, depending on the streams of income. You know, straight up. Like nowadays, you got to have 5 or 6 streams of income. You got to have crazy amount of streams of income these days to take care of everything, man. Life is a struggle out here for most people. Life is a struggle. These disrespectful jobs don't want to pay you anywhere near close to what you are worth. They don't want to pay you anywhere near close to where if you just had this job and this job alone, it could take care of, you know what I'm saying, the bare necessities. Like, nah. Jobs disrespectful. Then you go get the degrees. That's even more disrespectful because now you have accumulated all this debt and then you try to get the job. Now they changing the requirements on you, you know? So now you went and got the degree, but now you need 10 years of experience in order to hit this level of pay. And by the time you reach that level of pay, the prices then went up some more. So now that level of pay ain't enough. That's how I be going. That's how I be going. It's crazy out here, man. That's why I say it's time for us to get in that creative bag. It's time for us to get in that creative and that innovative bag. Like we can't depend on them much longer to earn a living, to feed ourselves, to feed families. We got to rely and depend on self. We got to rely and depend on self straight up. Because it's about to get real in the field in regards to just jobs and revenue, you know, wealth building, all of that type of stuff. It's about to get real. The main part of the agenda that I don't even know if Project 2025 reveals, but this has been part of the agenda for a long time. Just when I started to study all of this, the main part of the agenda is they striving to do away with middle class. You either gonna be rich or you're gonna be poor. There will be no in between. This has been a part of the agenda that they have been striving to bring into fruition for a very long time. For a very long time. The middle class is about to be obsolete. You either going to be rich or you're going to be poor. There will be no such thing as the middle class. And we are headed in that direction. We are headed in that direction to where you're going to either be rich or poor. The middle, that's wiped out. There's no such thing as that. That's the true direction. That's a part of the agenda that they may not talk about. You know, middle class, wipe it out. You're either rich or you poor. Rich or poor. That's it. 777 for sure. Yeah. Man, listen. the AI is crazy. That's gonna get even crazier. You know what I'm saying? And we've had plenty of shows, movies, man, even cartoons like the Jetsons and all of that was letting us know that was letting our parents and grandparents know back in the day where the world was headed. You know what I mean? Like the Jetsons, like you watch the Jetsons, man, the Jetsons telling you like this is where the world will be in the future. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't have plenty of predictors. We didn't have plenty of warning shots. Just ignore them. We overlook them. You know, because they are under the title of entertainment. 777. No, I ain't seen that. I ain't seen it. You say Atlas on Netflix? I have not seen it. I have not seen that. I'm assuming since you brought it up, that's something that we need to tap into. Oh, okay, now I'm seeing this joint just dropped, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna have to tap into this one of these days. I'm looking at it, looking at the little trailer now, man, reading it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to tap into that. That looked like something that's gonna drop some game on us. That's gonna drop some game on us. But yeah, we gotta get prepared. It's about to get real. It's about to get real. We gonna have to depend solely on ourselves, like to earn a living. You know, you're gonna have to tap into your creative powers, man. You are about to have no choice. Like you're gonna have to get real creative out here, man, to muster up ways to generate revenue, generate wealth, provide for yourself, you're gonna have to get creative. It's about to come, it's about to become that time to where creativity is all that you're gonna have. Like you're gonna have, that's all you're gonna have at your disposal. Creativity. You're gonna have to get creative. You're gonna have to be innovative because there's not gonna be too many opportunities. So you're gonna have to create opportunities. You know, so if you have allowed your creative mind and that creative energy to be suppressed and lie dormant, it's time to wake up that energy. It's time to wake up that mind, because that's the mind that's gonna feed you here in the future. That's the mind that's gonna feed you. You're gonna need access to that creative mind on a regular basis. So it's time for us to block out time during the day to let the creative thoughts flow, let the creative juices flow. Because again, that's all you about to have. Because the opportunities are not going to be out there. It's not going to be any opportunities. And when there are no opportunities, what are you left with? The creation of opportunities. Innovation. You know, that's what you are left with. You know, so if you are not creative, you're going to be part of that poor class that I'm talking about. You're either rich or you poor. If you fail to access the creative mind, you will be part of that poor class. And that poor class is going to be deep, because they're going to set it up in a way to where majority of the people fall under that poor class label and title and lifestyle, so that they will have control over those people, you know. So if you want to separate yourself, you got to be part of the rich class, and you got to do it in a way to where you are able to keep your integrity, your morals and principles. And there is a way. You just got to use that creative mind. Got to get creative. Got to think 50 steps ahead, 100 steps ahead. That's how you got to do it. You know, you got to study what they doing. You got to study the enemy. You got to study the beast. You got to study the systems. You got to see what policies they out here pushing, and you got to think 50 steps ahead of them. 50 steps ahead. And the best way to be ahead, like I say, you got to study. You got to study the movement. Got to study the motion. When you study in the motion, when you studying, it's math. You studying patterns. You know, when you studying patterns, you are able to predict what's going to happen in the future. We do it all the time with people. You know what I'm saying? If you're around a person and you studying their habits, you paying attention to their habits and their like things they do on a day-to-day basis, you may be able to predict where that person will end up. They used to do it with us all the time as kids. Y'all know what I'm talking about with the prison system? They knew how many of us were destined to be locked up. You know, because they created an environment that encouraged certain behavior, and that certain behavior that it encouraged, the behavior that was encouraged by the environment that they created, it was only one or two places where you would end up: prison or dead, you know. And there will be very select few who make it out for that third option. But they know for the most part, if we create this environment and we place these people in this environment, 95% of them going to end up like this. They're going to end up dead, prison, impoverished, just a bunch of negative traits, negative qualities, negative things, destructive things happening to them. They knew it. You know, they knew it. So when you're around people and you studying what they do on a day-to-day basis, you can determine where they may end up or how they may end up. Now, you could be off, but if you study hard enough, when you study hard enough, you could be precise with it, you know. And that's what we got to do with the system. We got to study this system hard. You know, we got to study this system. You know, we got to pay attention, fam, to what's happening. Pay attention. Study hard. So that way we can be precise with our predictions. You know, we all have that psychic ability. You know, because again, a psychic ability to study patterns. And that's activating that psychic gene within us all. This is what I've been doing for the past 12, 13 years. That's why stuff like this doesn't come as a surprise to me, because I've been studying it. You know, so when this type of stuff pops off and happens, I'm like, yep. Doesn't shock me, doesn't surprise me, because I've been studying this stuff, man. I've been looking at it. I've been observing the patterns. So this is nothing new. It's not a shocker to me. It's not a shocker to me. You know, this is stuff that if you would have been studying it, you would have been seeing that, okay, this is where we are headed. Like, this is where the world is headed. This is where America is headed. Study the patterns. Study them. You know, and when you study these patterns, now you are able to put a plan into motion to combat whatever they throw at you. You know, you're able to combat it. Like, all right, I've been studying this. I think in the next 10, 15 years, they're going to be on this type of time. So this is what I'm going to do to dodge that or combat that. You know, that's what you got to do. And that's how you got to do it, because it's going to get real in the field. It's going to continue, I should say, to get real in the field, because it's already been real in the field. We just ignore things, but it's about to get even more real. Like, you got to, you know, even with these cicadas that's out here, you know what I'm saying? Even with these cicadas, like, I get the science behind the unleashing of the cicadas, but I call me a conspiracy theorist on this one, but I think it's something going on with that too. You know, I think it's something that reminds me of the book of Medical Apartheid. Medical Apartheid. It reminds me of that book when the author, brought up an experiment. I think it was a small town in Florida where they released some mosquitoes on the population. And I forgot what disease these mosquitoes were carrying, but they released manufactured mosquitoes on a population. And these mosquitoes carried a certain type of disease that these people in that small town ended up getting in large amounts. So this cicada outbreak reminds me of that. Like, it reminds me of that story in Medical Apartheid. And I wish I had that book behind me so I could. Again, I know I quoted it. I got it somewhere behind me, but it'd take me a minute to find it. But it reminds me of that. When they released them manufactured mosquitoes on a small little town in Florida that carried a disease that a lot of people ended up dying from. Like, straight up. Hey, get in. I don't know. I gotta dive into it. I just feel like they have tampered with these cicadas. Even though I know I know they don't bite, none of that, but it could be something going on with the air quality, things like that. Even if they just land on you, it could be something that they transmit, man. They get creative with what they do. So I don't put anything past these folks. I don't put anything past these folks, especially when they know something is going to happen. Like when they warned us, like, all right, we about to have this cicada outbreak, you know, about to be massive amounts of cicadas and whoop-de-whoop. When they know something is happening, I really have my antennas go up then. I don't trust them. Now, I could be wrong. I admit that. Like, I admit that I could be wrong on that. But I don't trust, man. These cicadas are a little different, which they technically are a little different. But again, my antennas are up. My antennas are up. Now I got to analyze after these cicadas die off, which is about to be probably about another 2 or 3 weeks or so. You know, by July, we're not going to see these cicadas. Like they don't have a long lifespan. You know, so when these cicadas die off, we got to pay attention to the people. We got to pay attention to the areas where these cicadas are heavily populated. And we got to start seeing if we see some random illnesses or diseases start coming up out of the blue in some of these areas. So that's what I'm about to pay attention to, because you never know. You never know. You know, when they lace the mosquitoes up and unleash these mosquitoes, you know what I'm saying, on a certain population, I stopped trusting a lot of stuff. I stopped trusting a lot of stuff. Yeah, get in. Yep, man, all of that. I don't trust a lot. You know, believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. You know, so I'm just like that. You know, I keep all possibilities open when it comes to the government. When it just comes to things that go on, I keep all possibilities open. I don't close the door on a lot of possibilities. You know, I keep an open mind. You know, these cicadas, this could literally be nature, just naturing. But it also could be them tampering with nature, just naturing, which is what they tend to do. You know, and when they tamper with nature, trying to nature, we get destruction. So I don't trust them. A lot of times they don't allow nature to just do what nature will do. They got to tamper with it. You know, they got to tamper with the animals. They got to tamper with the insects. They got to tamper with everything involved in nature. You know, so I don't trust a lot. And I feel like as Black people, we have earned the right to have trust issues with our government, with our system. We have earned that right. We have earned that right for sure. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I gotta make some moves. I gotta log on off here, man. I gotta get back to my studies. You know, I just wanted to tap in with y'all, and I just wanted to activate that research gene. So I just want to bring up the Project 2025 for you to do further research into it, look it up, read it, you know, read it to its full extent. And then I'm gonna tap back in with y'all one of these days so we can really elaborate on most of the policies. You know, but I just wanted to tap in and activate that research bug, man. But I gotta make my moves. I appreciate y'all tapping in on this short notice. But man, I'm gonna let y'all get back to enjoying the rest of y'all Wednesday. I'm out. I'm gonna try to tap in with y'all again one of these days before the week is over with. But y'all be easy though. I'm out. Appreciate y'all. Peace.